फास्टेस्ट क्रिकेट स्कोर अपडेट्स या सबसे डिटेल्ड स्टैट्स,
क्रिकेट के अंदर बाहर की खबरें
या हेल्दी डिबेट्स,
सबसे एक्यूरेट एनालिसिस
या फैंस का क्रेज, सबके लिए एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म, क्योंकि क्रिकेट मतलब क्रिकेट नेक्स्ट।
Hello everyone, you're watching Cricket Next. I'm Surama Koshek. It's time to talk about the WPL auction as it's done for this season, and we have got some really interesting names. Well, we'll be talking about the two costliest players in this auction, Kashvee and Annabel Sutherland. Well, DC and Gujarat Giants have done their job really well, especially Gujarat Giants. They needed a pool of around 10 players. They did their job well. They got the players in good price. But let's hear it out from Taus Rizvi and Nisarg Naik what they feel about it. Hi Taus, hi Nisarg. Nisarg, before the auction started, you had this whole chart, which team should do what in this auction. And in that chart, in that discussion, we were talking about, what Gujarat Giants especially need to do. They have roped in 10 players, they needed 10 players. But what about the bid for Kashvee, and how do you see it? Like, putting 2 crores for a player who's uncapped and then getting that youngster into the team, do you think this will change the course for Gujarat Giants in the upcoming season?
Firstly, what I think is 2 CR for Kashvee Gautam is too high. I'll be very frank with you. And what I can see in the squad is they have strengthened the batting much, but they don't have a bowler yet. Means I can't see a proper bowler for what I can see over here in Gujarat Giants team. Leachfield again a batter. Bat Muni will also open. Gardner is a middle order. Laura Woolworth is also a batter. Catherine Brace, she is from Scotland. We can't totally rely on her. And Laura Cheetal, a pacer. So again the foreign combination. I can't think there is a good balance between the squad. And talking about the Indian bowlers over here, Meghna Singh, she is currently playing for India in the Test team. So she haven't played white ball cricket for India. She played a long back. So I can't totally. We also can't totally rely on her as well.
Yeah. That's right. Taos, we have got in 10 players in Gujarat Giants side that Gujarat Giants got in their squad today. And I'll tell all the names one by one, starting in the order of the most costliest player. That's Kashvee Gautam, obviously for 2 crores. She's the costliest along with Annabel Sutherland. We'll be talking about Sutherland later. But for Gujarat Giants, we have Kashvee Gautam. Gujarat Giants got her for 2 crores. Then we have Litchfield, 1 crore. Meghna Singh, Lauren Chit. Then Veda Krishnamurti. Veda Krishnamurti's bid was quite surprising to me. The other season she was doing, commentary. She had wore the hat of a commentator. This time she'll be playing this WPL as a player. So I'll be quite interested in knowing her role and her bid, especially from Youth House. But there we also have Priya Mishra, Trisha, then Catherine Brace, Mannat Kashyap, and Tarannum Pathan. Obviously, there are just 4-5 names in that list that are quite interesting. But first of all, I know you will be talking about Kashvee Gautam, but first of all, what about Veda Krishnamurti?
Finally, she gets her due. I mean, these experienced players we were talking about before the IPL, before the WPL auction. What these guys, these ladies will fetch, especially these 4. Unfortunately, 2 of them missed out. That is Poonam Raut, and the other lady was, I think, Nishant. Just
Mona Mishram.
Mona Mishram. I mean, these people have served India for a long time. And they were due. This was completely due. And obviously, we were talking before this live broadcast, me and Nisar, see how important is this IPL, WPL, considering the teams are considering more experienced players. And finally, the Gujarat Giants, who are missing out on something or the other, have got Veda Krishnamurti. So they have stressed on experience of Veda Krishnamurti as well as Kashvee Gautam, a young uncapped player, somebody who's from Chandigarh, who has not played international cricket. Her base price was like 30 lakh, and suddenly you see 2 crores. She might be having a huge party tonight. So I mean, it's a great thing, interesting thing. A lot of things happened over there. But my man, Kalam is right out there. I think live from Mumbai, and he's seen things closely. I think he would better suggest what happened exactly, kind of.
Kanav, can you hear us? You're on mute. If you're trying to speak, please unmute and yeah, go ahead.
I think it's a technical issue which is happening.
Yeah, it's there's a technical issue because I'm also trying to, unmute him, but that's not happening. Okay, we'll get back to him a little later in this live session. We'll
So,
request Kanav to fix
so I
his
would
network.
like
Yeah.
I would like to continue. So Gujarat Giants, I was just having a look at the whole squad. I mean, it's they have some good foreign hands right now. I mean, if we had a look, Ashley Garner, a very good Australian. Beth Mooney, you have somebody like Harleen Deol, somebody who has been there for quite some time and has played for India, and she was very crucial for Gujarat Giants till last year. So they have a good lineup. I mean, I agree with Nisar that they might miss out on the bowling front, but then they'll Kashvee Gautam will have to go out of the way to put up some extraordinary performance because expectations will be high from her. 2 crores is a huge amount, and more than I mean, today she can party, but from tomorrow she'll have to start thinking what I'll have to do to get my team win the trophy.
Yeah,
Thousand by
we have
Shivram, yeah,
Kanav with
one
us.
minute.
Sir, yeah, Nisarg, I'll come back to you and we will
Yeah,
talk about Gujarat Giants squad. Let's hear it out from Kanav because he was present there while the auction was happening. Kanav, what did you notice with the Gujarat Giants team? Because they have fetched in 10 players, especially they got in Kashvee, got them for 2 crores, an
Yeah,
uncapped player. What do you have to say
yeah.
about her and the whole Gujarat Giants team?
Hi, Surama. First of all, am I audible clearly? Because there are a lot of
Yeah,
network
yeah.
issues here. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Kashvi Gautam, Gujarat Giants, they had a lot of money and the eyes were on them कि वो क्या करेंगे, किसको लेंगे, and to have an uncapped player by taking 2 crore to 200 lakh home, this is a big, not just a big amount, but a big sign for the young Indian cricketers, young girls, young women who are playing domestic cricket in India, and this gives them confidence. And just a while back, we were having a word with Honorable BCCI Secretary Jay Shah, and he was also saying that this is such a good sign for Indian cricket, for the young women out there. And Gujarat, as you said, and here they had a lot of gaps to fill, and they have somehow filled that. But then again, auction is half job done. You have to go out and perform as a team. You have to go out and play as a team, which Mumbai did last year. Delhi did to a certain extent. Unfortunately, they couldn't lift the trophy that year. But all the teams are looking good right now. There were a lot of thinking going on. There were breaks in between, and as soon as the break happened, I used to leave the press conference room where we were sitting, and I used to just witness owners running about here and there, be it the MI owners or the DC owners, from the auction room to their meeting room, whatever rooms that they were going in to discuss stuff. And even Gujarat was in that mix, and they were constantly brainstorming as to, because every team has a plan. Like MI came with a plan to buy Annabel Sutherland, but that didn't go their way. When she went to DC in such a high price bid, that the fight that the two teams had for Annabel, and she went to DC, and MI's plans had to change last moment. And that is the beauty of auction. And all the teams were looking good. They had certain plans in mind. They came for press conferences after every break, and they talked about their plans and what they think about WPL in general. They talked about the venues. They talked about what the impact does WPL have on players, not just in India but around the globe. So
Can't hear you, Kanav. There's network issue. There's network issue. Can't hear you, Kanav.
hello. Can you hear?
Your
Hello.
voice is very robotic. We'll get back to you, Kanav. Your voice is getting very robotic. We'll get back to you.
Yeah,
We
there's some
request.
network
Please,
issues here.
yeah. Please continue. Yeah,
Yeah,
we can
it's
hear
better
you,
now,
Kanav.
no?
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's
So
better,
yeah,
much
that
better.
as I was talking, that it's not just Gujarat. Every team had certain specific plans in mind, and they made sure that they went the same way that they thought. And it's a good buy for everyone. But the pick of the story today has to be Kashvi Gautam, because and a domestic player getting this amount, and it means a lot to not just that player, but all the domestic girls, women cricketers who wants to rise up the rank and play for India one day.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I would also like to know from you the DC's approach. Did you notice something very different? Because DC's approach was on point. What Nisarg mentioned before the auction, he said that they'll be going for a player for 2 crores and then they'll be buying two other players for 10 lakh each. That's exactly what happened in the auction. Do you think it was pretty much expected and quite predictable in the auction? Because Delhi Capitals, they didn't need anything big, but they have actually fetched a very, very big gun for themselves in this auction.
Yeah. Absolutely, and we see Annabel Sutherland was one of the main players going into the auction. Many teams had eyes on her, and as I said, DC and Mumbai, they fought well till the end, and DC was the winner, and they have now Annabel Sutherland. And as Nisarg said, and as we all know that they had, see, in this auction, what the thing was, every team had a certain amount, and they had a certain slots to fill. There was nothing major to see here because एक major auction एक साल पहले हो चुका है. This auction
Yeah.
was mainly to fill the gaps. वो gaps जो पिछले साल उनको feel हुए after the result. Even for Mumbai Indians, even though they have won the trophy, there are still some gaps that they wanted to fill, and they have come in with that plan. And they wanted Annabel Sutherland, but DC was, DC was a better team, and they won. They put in more money than MI. They were ready to put in 2 crore for Annabel, and they are taking
Yeah.
her to the WPL in the next season. So yeah, just like every team, DC had a certain plan. They wanted only specific players for specific slots. They had money. They didn't hesitate going all out with 2 crores early in the beginning itself, and then need for other players 10 lakh 20 lakhs to go. And the three players that I can see on the screen, that is according to the plan. This is what DC planned, and Mithali Raj came out and talked about her plans, and this is is the same thing that she said. And the squad, as you can see on the screen, it's already a very strong squad. They made it to the finals last year, and as I said, that every team only had certain gaps to fill. They were not looking for anything major apart from one or two players. I don't think there were major takeaways or keyways that players were looking for कि ये slot ये बड़ा player हमें चाहिए.
Yeah.
There were only few big players that were in the plans or blueprints of the teams. And I think apart from Mumbai not getting Annabel Sutherland, all the other players have got what they wanted.
Yeah, well, it seems so. But what's very interesting here is the number of Indian players that have went under the hammer, because that's a very big and positive sign that you already mentioned, Kanav. So, for our viewers, I would love to tell you that 21 Indians were sold for a combined amount of 6.85 crores in today's auction for the WPL upcoming season. If we talk about the overseas players, the 9 overseas stars commanded a price of 5.9 crore. And talking about the team that purchased the maximum number of players, that was Gujarat Giants, and the minimum number of players were purchased by Delhi Capitals, as it was predicted. Now, interestingly, there was a lot of buzz around Deandra Dottin and Kim Garth, and they haven't got
Yeah.
any team, which is surprising. I mean, what happened? And this is a second auction in a row where Chamari Attapattu hasn't got any team. What's wrong? Do
Abs-
you think that
uh,
these teams, the WPL teams, are looking for indigenous talents, and they're looking for youngsters? Do you think this is the case?
Surma, see, Chamari Attapattu and all the other players you mentioned, I don't think anyone here has any idea as to why go unsold. Well, it's a big shocker to everyone. Charlotte Edwards from the Mumbai Indians camp, she came for the press conference and she said that she's really shocked with the fact is going for Attapattu. They had a plan to go for her, but unfortunately, they bought other players, or वो जो पर्स के कारण they couldn't go for her, and they just decided to, because the gap they wanted to fill was already filled by some other player, and they didn't go for her. But she said that I'm really shocked that a player who has done well in the last 12 months in the leagues, in the T20 leagues around the globe, and she's going unsold. Everybody is shocked in the press conference room. Even the media guys with me, they are shocked that a player like her, she is going unsold. And this is the case that you can see the two spectrums. On one end, uncapped domestic Indian players getting 2 crore, and on the other hand, You can see someone like Jamaria Tapatu and the other players that you mentioned going unsold. And even the last auction, Danny White, she went unsold. Kate Cross, and we have been talking about them for the whole year. Even in the first T20I between India and England, women's T20I that was played few days back at
Yeah.
Wankhede, in the post-match, Danny White came to the post-match press conference where I was present, and I heard she said that she was really shocked and obviously disappointed that she wasn't able to bag a team in the first season of the WPL, and she was really hoping that she gets a team this time around, and thankfully she got a team and she will be playing in WPL. So even these players, we think that we obviously we are disappointed that we won't get to see these players, but even those players themselves are very disappointed because everybody wants to be a part of WPL, Women's Premier League. They know it's a big brand and it will grow gradually and in a proper way into for women's cricket, women's international cricket, and everybody wants to come here and play WPL. So for these players, the names that we just mentioned, Jamaria Tabatu and all the other players, it's a big blow for them and for women's cricket in general. But then again, see WPL next year again. Teams will pick and injuries happen. You don't know. There are times when a few weeks down the line, if someone gets injured, God forbid, and you see replacements, and that is probably their only
I agree to
chance.
that, Kanav.
But I fully agree that
I completely agree to this, that a player can get injured and, they can call up, say, a Chamaria Tapatu or Deandra Drotte into their team. But it is a clear message to these players that these players are not in the first list or they are not in their thinking for the first bid. It is a clear message to the players that they are not in the scheme of things for them. They are not a priority for them, which is quite surprising and it's obviously shocking, but I feel like from here I think that all these teams, especially the WPL teams, I'm not drawing any comparison between IPL and WPL, so I'm keeping WPL as a very different league, and I'm saying that I feel that in this league it seems that the teams are aiming and they're looking forward to indigenous talents, because the way the teams have bid for Kashvee and then Vrinda. So I think Vrinda, Dinesh, and Kashvee Gautam emerging as the players who have got crores. It's a great sign. Lastly, Kana, because I won't take much of your time, and then I'll move to Nisarg and Taos. Kana, what do you think? How exciting this WPL going to be? Because I asked this before the auction. There has been one season, okay, and we have seen that a lot of players must have tried their levels best, now to achieve. They must have understood the league. They must have understood, how T20 in league format is played. What do you think? Did you find any transition in last year's auction and this auction?
see, last year's auction, physically, I wasn't present in the auction, so I don't know the atmosphere that was going around. But I can talk about the WPL itself. I covered the first match. Tausbai was there. We were covering the WPL last time around in Mumbai, and the euphoria, because it was a new venture, it was a new brand coming into the market, WPL in itself, and the crowd was really excited. The young girls were really excited because IPL, so everybody have been watching for the last 12, 15 years, but to get WPL, to get their women stars coming and playing these domestic league, such a big league, and there was an air of excitement at that time. This time it's double because you already have an established brand, you already have these teams, you have a winner in Mumbai Indians, so strategies change, the way you see teams change, because in the last WPL auction every team was on the same pedestal. This time you are coming with a baggage.
Yeah.
RCB is coming with a baggage of a poor performance. Mumbai Indians is coming with a good baggage of a trophy, and that is the pressure of being defending champions. So, in that regard, the way people perceive teams has changed, obviously, but the atmosphere, the vibe, as we say in our lingo, it's way more better now because there's more sense of excitement in the air. You can see more hustling. You can see the owners running and thinking, and just like IPL, exactly just like IPL, they are also planning in advance. They are also talking, discussing amongst media persons. We are discussing who will go where. So WPL as a brand is growing. It will grow eventually, and as I said, we had a word with Mr. Jayasha a few while back, and he talked about growing WPL into different cities. But he said this time around we'll only have it in one state as of now. A state they have obviously not told. but they will eventually grow WPL into many cities somewhere down the line. There's no official word as of now, some few years down the line, but see the sense of excitement, the likes of Mithali Raj, she's standing right in front of me right now. I met Julian Goswami. There are former women cricketers here who are hustling from one place to other, talking, discussing. And so to see those legends, women legends, being so involved in the even in the planning process, not just the cricket part, but the
Yeah.
planning as to which slot to fill by which player. This is such a beautiful sight to see, something we have always wanted to see, because we have seen the likes of Rahul Dravid being involved with Rajasthan Royals and a former men
Yeah.
cricketer being involved with IPL, and it looks so good. And this time around, to have the likes of Mithali Raj, Julian Goswami walking through these corridors, discussing, both are representing different teams, both former India players. And this, see, Surama, this is overall a great vibe. We saw the audience reaction last time around. Me and Taus Bhai were there, and this time around, although it's just the auction still now, but I can see the excitement amongst the officials. I met Mr. Roger Vinny, President BCCI. He was really excited. Mr. Jay Shah, and everybody is talking about just growing this brand further and further.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And that's a good update for all of us that this time as well, WPL will be played only in one state, though the name of the state hasn't been mentioned by the BCCI, but we'll be seeing it only on two or three venues, perhaps, because if it'll be in one state, so that'll be the most likely scenario that we'll be seeing it in a few venues only. So thank you so much, Kana, for joining with us, and we'll continue with Nisarg and Taus, and we'll see how the decision of the teams was. Thank you so much, Kana.
Thank you, thank you.
So we were talking to Kanav. He joined us live from Mumbai. Yes, Taus. Let's talk about the auction. What happened and what should have happened? Because there are few names that are quite surprising. They didn't go under the hammer.
In fact, yeah, I'm surprised by Deandra Doughton not being picked. She is the first T20 player to first women cricketer to score a century in T20s, which is like a huge thing during the World Cup in 2010. But then, as I was going through some research work, I found out there are some issues related to her fitness, which has forced these all five franchises to shun from the auction. I mean, last time she was picked by Gujarat, and then
Gujarat
suddenly
Giants.
she was found wanting. Yeah, suddenly she was found wanting because she couldn't provide, according to the Gujarat officials. If you go by the reports, she was found wanting. She could not get the sort of fitness certificates, while the Gujarat Giants felt that they needed. I mean, they were out there to get Deandra Doughton, but then they could not fill because of injuries and some fitness issues, and which is one of the reasons why she could not be there in the. Otherwise, why could anybody? A West Indian player is always a huge catch. I mean, if you look at the IPL, they are one of the dangerous
Yeah.
players out there when it comes to T20 cricket. They just go out there, they bear their heart out, they just play their own national game. And I wouldn't have been surprised if Deandra Doughton was doing the same on in WPL. But then I believe it's all fitness issues, nothing else. Otherwise, who
One
wouldn't
more
want
thing.
the West Indian cricketer?
I understand that. Taus, I'll ask this to Nisarg, and you can also chip in, of course, if you feel the same. Nisarg, I asked this question to Kanav a while back, where I mentioned, do you think that these teams are looking for indigenous talents? Because as we can see that, around 20 odd players went under the hammer. All those 20 players are Indians. And the two players who got into the bag of crores are Kashvee and Vrinda, and you were very confident about Vrinda before the auctions, and you told how did she perform for the Karnataka team, and how brilliantly she bats, and that was actually quite explicit in the auction as well, that the teams were looking forward to her. So do you think that this is a case of looking forward to indigenous talents, young Indian girls, and to put them and give them a platform?
See, Women's Premier League is all about India. India Premier League. It's kind of Indian Premier League. So I think nurturing Indian talent is, it should be the utmost thing when we consider players. And talking about youngsters, still I'm a bit sad that Uma Chetri is missing today. Because
Yeah.
missing, she wasn't, into any of the squad. What Gujarat could have done is they don't have a backup wicket keeper. So if last year what we saw is Bat Mooney was injured in the very first match. So if Bat
Yeah.
Mooney does get injured or whatever it may or may not be, so who will be the backup wicket keeper for Gujarat Giants? So that's a big question mark. And talking about Vrinda Dinesh, I think she is a fearless cricketer. Like Gujarat Giants should have been fearless today when they stepped into the auction, but I think they weren't so fearless. They were clueless. So
Okay.
that's what I feel.
Okay. So, do you think, because I remember I asked you this question before the auction. I said that, do you think that there can be any team who can mess up in the auctions? Do you think Gujarat Giants have messed it up?
Yes, I do think they have messed it up because as I told, see, we can see Tarannum Patan. Tarannum Patan is a good all-rounder. She is a batter. She changed her state from Baroda to Goa this year, but she can't be, into playing 11. So I think in spite of her or in spite of Catherine Bryce, what we can do is they have, get in Chamika Attupattu or Chamaira Attupattu in. That's what I feel because see,
Hmm.
Catherine Brace won't be playing. That's what I feel. Or she might come in as a associate nation player, but I don't think that she might, make some impact into this.
Okay. Also, Nisarg, what do you think? क्या logic हो सकता है behind not taking in someone like Deandra Dottin and then Kim Gath and then Attapattu? Do you think base price of these players is quite high? Especially, obviously, I'm talking about Dottin and Kim Gath.
what ताउस भाई सेड बिफोर कि इसका डिएंड्रा डॉटिन का फिटनेस इश्यू बहुत इश्यू है उनका. वो बॉलिंग पहले करते थे, बाद में उन्होंने बॉलिंग बंद कर दिया था. एज अ बैटर शी इट वाज डिफिकल्ट फॉर हर टू गेट पिक बिकॉज लिचफील्ड जो अभी है 20 ईयर्स के, उनका स्ट्राइक रेट भी 220 का है. तो वो एक पिक मुझे अच्छा लगा गुजरात का. एंड टॉकिंग अबाउट किम गर्थ, आई एम बिट सरप्राइज कि किम गर्थ पे कोई गया नहीं.
ऑल्सो आपने जो बात करी ना फिटनेस लेवल्स की, ताउस अगर हम तीनों प्लेयर्स को देखें, बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग एक्सटेंसिवली अबाउट दीज थ्री प्लेयर्स, ऑल द आईज वर ऑन दीज थ्री प्लेयर्स, द ओवरसीज प्लेयर्स. अगर हम देखें अट्टापट्टू को, शी इज 32 years old, I guess. Then if we talk about Deandra Dottin, she is also 31, 32, early 30s. Both these players fall into the category of early 30s. The only surprising element with Kim Gath is that she's 27. She's not into her 30s. So that's one surprising bit. Baki, do you think that the age is a factor for the other two players?
In fact, I was thinking initially before I went into it, Alexa Haley is also, although we should not discuss age about anybody's age, but then
Yeah.
Alexa Haley 33, 32, 33. So that is something I don't think so. Age could be a factor because teams would prefer more experienced players rather than more youngsters. Diana Rodri, definitely it's one of the fitness issues. Everybody's surprised Chamari Attapattu not being picked could be one of the reasons. But then if you look at Bet Mooney, these people, I mean, a lot of players have been playing for quite a long time in international cricket. So I don't
Yeah.
think so. Age is an issue, and this is a new tournament. This is a young tournament, but then young tournament also needs an experienced player. Suddenly, if you put inexperienced players out there, youngsters out there, and if they are not able to perform, deliver, entertain, then that value of the tournament completely goes down. तो
Yeah.
मुझे लगता नहीं एज फैक्टर और एज फैक्टर मतलब एक्सपीरियंस बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है बिकॉज मतलब यू नीड टू एटलीस्ट बी देयर फॉर 20 ओवर्स. यंगस्टर्स का रश ऑफ ब्लड की वजह से यू कैन सी number of matches going down, quickly ending in like 10 overs, 15 overs, rush of blood में. But these experienced players, they are out there, they'll ensure that आप 20 ओवर तक जाओ at least. गेम चलता रहना चाहिए और एंड में sudden death में आना चाहिए, it becomes an entertaining game. So I don't think so age is a factor over here. But then there are surprising elements out there that people have been ignored. I mean, some really talented players, proven performers have been ignored, which only I think franchise के साथ एक बार बैठेंगे, उनको interrogate करेंगे, interview करेंगे, तो ही वो बता पाएंगे. वो भी I don't know convincingly कितना बताएंगे. But then surprising. There are some surprises.
Yeah.
ताउस भाई वन क्वेश्चन. सॉरी ताउस भाई, आपसे क्वेश्चन था मेरा. ऐसा बड़े टूर्नामेंट में जैसा WPL हो गया, IPL हो, कोई भी बड़ा टूर्नामेंट, आपको लगता है बैकअप विकेट कीपर होना जरूरी है इस सब में?
Absolutely. हर टीम में होता है, राइट? हर टीम में होता है बैकअप विकेट कीपर. In fact, you saw Delhi Capitals how Sarfaraz Khan was forced to keep wickets for the when Rishabh Pant got injured. So I mean that is something that is one of the major examples any team could have taken from WPL. At least they could have taken a good example from recent. Being the latest example was Sarfaraz Khan, which I think they should have taken. और साबित हो गया यहाँ पर कि यार अगर कोई इंजर्ड हो गया जैसे लास्ट इसमें बेथ मुनी गॉट इंजर्ड राइट
अभी
Yeah.
शी इज
अभी
अ
भी वो
विकेट
लोग में वही इश्यू है,
कीपर
विकेट कीपर नहीं है वो लोग के पास.
then suddenly you will see like struggling. किसी को फोर्स करना पड़ेगा behind the wickets जाने के लिए. And, I mean, it becomes difficult if you ask somebody who is not a wicket keeper because it's a specialist job at the end of the day. Up KL Rahul might have done a lot of keeping in junior age cricket. You saw how Sarfaraz Khan was forced. He looked forced completely behind the wickets for Delhi Capitals. तो यहाँ पर it's not easy to आप फिर आपको bat भी करना है. So it's quite a tough job. So I
और
don't think so.
लास्ट ईयर बेथ मुनी इंजर्ड होने के बाद पूरा सुषमा वर्मा ने पूरा संभाला था तब से. एज अ बैकअप
Absolutely.
विकेट कीपर भी वही थे और बैटर भी वही थे. तो अभी इसमें तो ये टीम में मुझे कोई मतलब वो लोग के पास पैसा भी था गुजरात के पास, बट आई डोंट थिंक दे हैव डन ग्रेट जॉब इन द ऑक्शन दिस ईयर.
Okay. So you disappointed? Are you disappointed, Nisarg, with Gujarat Giants' approach in the auction?
Yes, a bit, yes.
Well, only their performance in the WPL season can change that. Nothing else. We'll have to wait quite a long for their performances to change our opinion about Gujarat Giants thing in the auction, because I remember when Gujarat Titans came in IPL and the first time they sat in the auction of the IPL season, everybody said that, oh, Gujarat Titans have messed it up, and then they won the title. So this time, what can go well with Gujarat Giants team is that they can win this coming WPL season and then can prove everyone wrong. That's the only thing that Gujarat Giants can do. But yes, let's have a look at the other teams, and then we will be taking each team one by one. We have already talked about Gujarat Giants in this live session, and then we will be switching on to other teams. So first up, we have Royal Challengers Bangalore. They have acquired Ekta Bisht, Georgia Verham, Meghna, Simran Bahadur. Then we have Sophie, Kate Cross, Shubha Satish. I think, Taus, they have done a decent job in terms of not spending too much on any player. They have, acquired players at decent prices, isn't it? Do you think this has been a good approach from the RCB side this time in the auction?
I think they are being smart. I don't know, but why they want to save so much money. But then that's okay. I mean, anybody, people, the players would be happy with this. But then the most interesting part in RCB, I found Kate Cross to be, CSK fan, and suddenly you find her being, she has been out there criticizing or maybe taunting RCB for a long time. But then, वो कहते हैं ना, karma brings you to.
क्या पता जो सीएसके का फैंडम है वो आरसीबी के लिए एक थोड़ी सी ट्रॉफी भी ले आए. एक ट्रॉफी की जरूरत है बस आरसीबी को.
Absolutely. और क्या पता ये साल हो जाए. But then I think this ये lineup बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है मुझे. Look at that. It's last year भी ये बहुत अच्छा lineup था. I mean, it was one of the most promising and touted to be. Last year it was touted to be one of the reigning champions. But then suddenly क्या हो जाता है आरसीबी को पता नहीं. मुझे आज तक विराट को भी नहीं पता होगा. स्मृति तो अभी नई नहीं है. तो पहला साल था, ये दूसरा साल है उनका. उनको भी फिगर आउट करना होगा exactly, because just look at the lineup यार. Ellis Perry, Heather Knight. If you look at the foreign hands, then you have some international players. Sophie Devine, she's been there. Georgia Warren. Then look at these Indian talents. Ekta Bisht, she's been there. Richa Ghosh, a big name. Shreyank Patil, youngster, somebody who's been there. Smriti Mandhana, the biggest of all. I mean, it's the most balanced lineup. Nisarg, इससे टाइटल तो आराम से जीत सकते हैं.
बट वो लगता है कुछ करना पड़ेगा उनको टाइटल जीतने के लिए, जो इतने साल से नहीं आ रहा है. Before auction what we had a word was कि bowlers पे ज्यादा फोकस करना चाहिए. तभी केट क्रॉस आ गए और अंदर सिमरन बहादुर इज आल्सो गुड बॉलर. बट सोफी मैलिनेक्स के जगह पे किम गर्द का जगह बनता था या नहीं था? उस भाई क्या लगता है आपको?
I mean, I don't know exactly वो उनका thinking क्या होगा इस वक्त, तो RCB ही बता सकता है उनका thought process. But still, I mean, Sophie, there might be a thought behind getting Sophie. She's a fast bowler, quite a talented lady. सो आई मीन बैलेंस करना होगा उनको, और एक्सपीरियंस शायद नहीं, एक यंग लेग्स, फ्रेश लेग्स चाहिए होंगे। और फास्ट बॉलिंग इज समथिंग वेयर यू डोंट रियली नीड experience, because I mean the more older you are, the more chances are you getting more tired. So I think Sophie will get that fresh energy kind of thing.
Maybe that can be one scenario, or that can be one case where they would be looking forward to some youngsters in their team. But Taos, as you mentioned, I feel this is a really balanced side. It's a good side. Nisarg was talking about that their bowling is weak, but he's right there. You know that Kate Cross has come, so it'll be quite balanced. Then you also have Simran Bahadur, and then you have all these youngsters, Indian guns. So it's a good side, but only आरसीबी would know what they'll be doing this season. आरसीबी को ही पता है वो कैसे टाइटल जीत सकते हैं और कैसे नहीं जीत सकते हैं। इतने सालों से अगर आप आईपीएल में देखें तो वो उन्हें ही पता है कि उन्होंने कैसे नहीं जीता है टाइटल। एक साल डब्ल्यूपीएल का हो गया, वो भी उन्हें ही पता है कि उन्होंने कैसे नहीं जीता है वो टाइटल। तो इस साल वो थोड़ा कुछ और चेंज करना चाहेंगे। एंड एवरी टाइम वेन एवर वी सिट इन अ लाइव सेशन टॉकिंग अबाउट आईपीएल और डब्ल्यूपीएल, आई थिंक एक चीज कॉन्स्टेंट रहती है कि आरसीबी ये इस बार तो ट्रॉफी थोड़ा सा जीत जाओ। चलिए, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द अदर टीम। वन टीम दैट आई रियली लव्ड इन द ऑक्शन दैट वाज यूपी वॉरियर्स। दे हैव डन रियली गुड जॉब, दे गॉट two players, and I really like the bid for those two players. One is definitely Vrinda, Dinesh, and Nisarg mentioned it quite earlier in this live session, in the live session before the auction, that why you really need to have Vrinda. And then Danny Wet. So Nisarg, what do you think? 5 players में से 2 तो आपने वो लिए हैं जिनके ऊपर सारी टीम्स की नजरें थी. What do you think? What kind of job they have done in this auction?
आई थिंक द स्ट्रेटेजी इज टू बी माइजर। जैसे हम प्लेयर का प्राइजेस देख रहे, लास्ट ईयर भी उन्होंने वैसे ही किया था, 10 lakhs में सब अंडर 19 के प्लेयर्स को ले लिए थे। दिस ईयर पूनम खेमनार इज अ वेरी गुड टैलेंट। पूनम खेमनार ने 142 इन अ सिंगल मैच किया था इस साल डोमेस्टिक में, शी वाज द हाईएस्ट रन स्कोरर दिस ईयर। आई थिंक पूनम खेमनार 10 lakhs रुपीज में मिलना इज गुड थिंग। और साइमा ठाकुर बॉम्बे, जो अभी T20 वो लोग ने जीता था मुंबई ने, तो साइमा ठाकुर प्लेड अ ह्यूज रोल इन बॉलिंग। तो इट्स अ गुड कॉम्बिनेशन। आई थिंक फाइनल पहुंचना चाहिए लोग।
अब बात तो पिछली बार भी उनके फाइनल पहुंचने की थी। ऑब्वियसली थर्ड फिनिश किया था, हमने वही बात की कि बहुत अच्छा शुरुआत किया था उन्होंने डब्ल्यूपीएल का। उसके बाद यूपी वॉरियर्स दे वेंट डाउन साइड एंड थर्ड नंबर पे खत्म किया है। लेकिन विद वृंदा being into the team, I mean, roping her for 1.3 crores, again, it's a good deal for them, and let's see what they do in the upcoming season. Next up, we have Delhi Capitals. Let's talk about Delhi Capitals, and I think straight up question will go to Nisarg because he was on point with his prediction. He mentioned right before the auction that Delhi Capitals will go for a player for 2 crores and then get 2 players for 10 lakh each. Nisarg, what made you think that way?
आई थिंक उसको प्रीटी वी कैन विजन इट दिस थिंग बिकॉज वो दिख रहा था सामने कि यार एक प्लेयर लेना ही है उनको। इट आई थॉट वो किम गर्थ रह सकते थे, किम गर्थ थी, बाद में अट्टू पट्टू भी रह सकते थे, लेकिन एनाबेल सदरलैंड इज आल्सो गुड चॉइस। बहुत अच्छा खेले उन्होंने WBBL में। अच्छा टीम है, दे हैवंट मेड मच चेंजेस। वो लोग ने पिछले साल का जो स्क्वाड था उन पे रिलाई रहना सोचा, एंड इट्स अ गुड थिंग। Ashwini Kumar is also a good player. She was released by Gujarat Giants this year. She was a top into the top 10 run scorer this year, and also took couple of
Yeah,
wickets.
yeah.
And
That's what we.
Aparna Mondal is Aparna Mondal had the highest dismissal last year as a wicket keeper, and this year she was called for Railways team.
Mhm. Well, see, I think that takes a lot of research and work at the grassroots levels. Nisarg, you as a talent manager, tell us what it takes you to find such kind of talents, and then put up your bet in the auction.
I think see how it's to select a player. I think we should watch more and more matches, go on the grounds. That's what I did 2 years back when I started my own talent management agency. I went on the grounds. I recommended player last year as well. Tita Sadhu is currently playing for Delhi Capitals and India team today. So I had recommended her last year to Delhi Capitals and much more under 19 players as well. So I think going on the ground, looking at the player, looking how fearless they are playing onto the ground, it's some of these factors how we can select a player on the basis of this.
Yeah, and obviously going to the ground looking for talents, and then teams really do that. A lot of teams do a lot of grassroots level work, and then they rope in such good players. But what is needed, and I think the need of the hour is for all the cricket fans also to go to the grounds and watch a lot of good cricket. And it doesn't matter, be it men's team playing it or women's team playing it. If you love cricket, you love cricket, you go out there, watch cricket, enjoy. And that reminds me of the India England series. India versus England T20 match is going around. England started off really well, Taos, again, and this is the match that India really need to win. So, as fans, we all need to go to the grounds to watch women playing, encourage them, be a part of their journey. Because when we can be part of, see, I just got to know the score. India 69 for 8. This is something really shocking to me. I never imagined India to be in such a condition. I mean, the first match, it was actually surprising for me the way India didn't win that match. This time as well, it doesn't seem that India will be making it through. Great performance by the England cricketers, but we'll reserve that discussion for a little later or a later show. Let's look at Mumbai Indians, because we were talking about grassroots levels, and Taos, we all know what kind of work Mumbai Indians do when it comes to grassroots level, searching talents there. What do you think? Because right now, also, if we look at the Mumbai Indians squad, we see this so much of Indian talent there, and players who have done really well in the domestic circuit. So we have, yes, here we have Shabnam Ismail. We were talking about this player, the South African player. They have put their huge sum of money, 1.20 CR, only on Shabnam, and then you see the job done by them. You see the four players they have got in. They have this Sajana for 15 lakh, Amandeep Kaur for 10 lakh, Balakrishnan for 10 lakh, Fatima Jaffer for 10 lakh. Now, what is this? Isn't it great by Mumbai Indians?
Yeah, and I'm surprised. Like I was talking about age factor, 35. Shabnam Ismail is 35, and she fetched 1.220 crores. Is huge, huge. So I mean, this is what. So Mumbai is a team that believes in experience, youth, grassroots, and all everything. It's a huge basket where you have a lot of eggs. They have put in everything. So I mean, I'm not surprised. And as far as grassroots is concerned, I mean, you can look at these youngsters. They've always invested in core. They believe in making a core side like what you have seen Mumbai Indians men's IPL team, which is the reason why they have dominated the IPL, huge five titles, IPL titles, apart from the IPL Champions Trophy, Champions League trophies.
Yeah.
तो I mean it's not like कि आप उठते ही साथ अगले दिन सुबह में और आप जाके जीत के आ जाते हैं. It's a process. यहाँ पर thought process इनका ऐसा रहता है. You have a huge team. You have Mahela Jayawardene out there sitting. Then you have Goswami out there. उसके साथ साथ बाकी team members भी रहते हैं. And the owners, the liberty that they give you. I mean, I told you मैच के प्रीव्यू के पहले कि पूरी तरह लिबर्टी देते हैं, चाहे वो प्लेयर्स हो या मैनेजमेंट को. किस तरह से आपको जो ऑप्शन जो परफेक्ट नजर आता है आप उसके साथ जाइए. एंड द वे they come up, and this is one of the reasons why Mumbai Indians has been a huge hit. I mean, look at that Fatima Jaffer. We were talking before the show. Fatima is a niece of Wasim Jaffer, and young sister of she's a young sibling of Arman Jaffer. So I mean, look at that. She's also a bowler apart from being a batsman. So they have invested in her. They know that what kind of a talent she could be. She could be in the next 5 or 10 years. She could be useful. And you can talk about Umaira Qazi. She's been there, Mumbai. She's been serving Mumbai for a long time. She's knocking the doors of Indian cricket team. Then apart from that, Balakrishnan, Amandeep Kaur. I mean, a lot of youngsters and a mix of experience as well. So I mean. And of course, Harmanpreet Kaur, we know how she leads the team. She's quite a daredevil, and I mean, we were talking about the daredevil. जिगर से खेलना तो वो Harmanpreet Kaur के पास ही है. She's the best pick, I guess, for Mumbai Indians. क्योंकि I mean, cricket is not just about brain; it's about being gutsy, about bravado. She has everything right now, and I think this is a champion side. What do you think, Nisat?
ताउस भाई उन्होंने सोनम यादव को रिलीज किया था. हु इज अ लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिनर. और उनके बोले लाइक रिप्लेसमेंट फातिमा जाफर को दे हैव कंसीडर. So I think this is a very good option. मतलब पूरा होमवर्क करके आए थे वो लोग. एस सजना जो है, शी इज फ्रॉम केरला, वो मिडिल ऑर्डर बैटर है. तो जब भी लास्ट ईयर हमने देखा कि हरमनप्रीत, नेट, सिवा ब्रंट जो ऊपर के 4-5 बैटर दे लूज द विकेट, तो नीचे थोड़ा खेलने के लिए मिडिल ऑर्डर में थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा था. हुमायरा काजी ने खेला बट शी wasn't up to the mark last year. So I think this is a very good signing. Sajna from Kerala. She is a power hitter. She can play in the death over as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely great. I mean, जिस तरीके से निसर्ग एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं, मुझे लगता है कि मुंबई इंडियंस हर ऑक्शन में अपना होमवर्क करके आते हैं. इस बार भी ऑब्वियसली हम लोग बात कर रहे थे, कनव बात कर रहे थे एनाबेल सदरलैंड की, कि मुंबई इंडियंस रियली वांटेड हर, बट somehow Nisarg, you tell me this in detail. I felt that after a point they were just bidding, they never wanted, because aap agar wo visual dekhe, Sunita Ambani and then Akash
Akash
Ambani sitting
Ambani.
over there,
Yeah.
he said something to Nita Ambani just before the last two bids she did, and those expressions were like ki, we are not going for more than this amount or a certain amount after her, let DC go ahead. And at the end also, Akash Ambani looked at DC and he said, Ki, boss, we are done. We are not doing it. So I think they have their
Yeah.
mindset. They know that we're going to spend this much. And if you're not getting the player, we're not getting the player, boss, done. We will look for some other player. Isn't it a great strategy? Because I didn't see any other team do so in the whole auction.
I think you can also consider this as a part of auction. This is, very wise thing to do. Well, what we see in the men's IPL from DC owner Mr. Gadvi, he, just bet on the players and then leave it, and then he starts
Yeah.
smiling. So that's what karma again today. That's what DC they got. They spend all the money on Annabel, but she is a good pick, to be really honest. But they have done their homework really well. They come with a strategy into the auction, and then they deliver the things. One thing more, the Kirta Balakrishna,
Yeah.
she is an all-rounder. She is a batter as well as a leg spinner. So they were missing a flavor of a leg spinner over here, and they got her as a batter as well and as a leg spinner as well.
That's great. And I think that's why Mumbai Indians are known to be the way they are. They have aced their job in IPL. They are acing it up here in WPL. They ace their job at grassroots levels. They are going way, way better than a lot more other teams. I mean, obviously, there's no comparison. Each and every team, they have their own set pattern of doing with things, and looking for young talents. But in the auction, Mumbai Indians did a really good job. They got in what they really wanted. Nisarg, if you have to pick any one team that you find as the most settled team right now, and you think that might have the highest chances of making to the finals of the upcoming season, which team it would be?
I think it's Delhi Capitals.
Okay.
Delhi Capitals. Yeah.
Okay, Taos, what do you think?
See, I believe Delhi and RCB could make it to the finals, and we would see RCB winning the title.
Well, I think you have said something that RCB fans would be really searching for. So, if there are any
Some
RCB
hopes for
fans,
RCB.
some hope for RCB. If there are any fans out there for Royal Challengers Bangalore, you really need to rewind and play Tao's words on loop for yourself, because that'll give you a lot of hope. That'll give you a lot of happiness. And if that happens, Tao's, your prediction will be on point. So let's wait and watch. And
It came straight from the heart. I don't know why. I did not even think much.
whenever your predictions come from her, they become true. And I remember for the World Cup final also, you said the same, that there's a chance that we might not win it, and we didn't win it. So whenever your predictions come from her, they just come true. So let's just see what happens in Women's Premier League. But I think this was a really good auction, because the number of Indian players that we have got in different teams. So it's a great, great sign for Indian players. And I would obviously give chances to both of you. What are your says on this auction? But for me, I feel that it's a start of something really very big for young girls out there who aspire to be cricketers. Few years back, nobody was even thinking to put their daughters into cricket coaching classes or in cricket classes. Today, parents really encourage their daughters to be in such kind of classes, not only just because to play WPL, but they know that one such kind of a platform can help them grow and then be a part of the Indian setup, and then make their country proud. Obviously, in our case, make India proud. So it's a great sign, and kudos to all the teams that have done their jobs well, and they have roped in all the Indian players, and especially putting big money on uncapped players. Congratulations to Kashvee and Vrinda, and obviously Annabel, Sutherland also, and all the other players who have been roped in by different teams. Nisarg, what do you think how the teams did their job today?
I think the squad is pretty much balanced, apart from just one team that I told before will be messing up things, I guess, and that's Gujarat Giants. I think they could have done much better, but nevertheless, we will see what they can do on the field. And you just told about women's cricket growing. I think this women's IPL will definitely be on the other level next year, coming again and again and recurring things. And I think the women's cricket in India will definitely grow year by year.
Let's just hope for that. Taos, what do you think? I remember in the live session before the auction, you talked about how your daughter really wants to play, and I think parents like you must be encouraging daughters to go out and just play. And you also talked about how women now play on these streets. How good it is, and how positive it is to see women out there on streets playing cricket.
It's very positive. It's another option. I mean, people who think cricket is not women's game, it's not for women or female or girls out there. I mean, they'll start thinking. पूरा change हो जाएगा mindset, thought process. Because ऐसा हुआ था, I've met like I keep doing stories on women cricket or girls, and I mean grassroots पे. So you keep on meeting people out there कि मतलब cricketers saying that यार मेरी mom allow नहीं करती थी because आप शादी इनफैक्ट मॉम या पेरेंट्स अलाउ करते हैं, मगर आपके पड़ोसी आपके ऊपर ऐसा बोलते हैं कि या रिलेटिव्स आप क्वेश्चन मार्क डालते हैं कि आपका कलर चेंज हो जाएगा एंड यू टॉक अबाउट द कलर, आपसे शादी कौन करेगा, आप इंजर्ड हो जाओगे तो आपके. सो इन वन ऑफ द इंटरव्यूज स्मृति मंदाना आई डिड फॉर माय प्रीवियस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, उन्होंने ही कहा था कि यार पीपल यूज्ड टू रेज क्वेश्चन, दे यूज्ड टू क्रिटिसाइज मी. But now, I mean, things are changing, or people should start accepting it's one of the professions, and it's a high-paying profession. Yeah, you deal in lakhs, but then it's not an easy journey. You have to keep on working hard. But then, right now, the pool is not huge. यहाँ पर बहुत सारे. It's not like men's pool where मतलब लाखों लोग हैं. यहाँ पर हैं लोग, but इतने नहीं है. तो you have a lot of opportunities in women's cricket because the teams are going to grow bigger and much more, and the platform is only going to grow big. So I think it has a lot of potential. It's just like doctor, engineer, and cricketer.
Yep.
And I want for other professions, other sports also come in and join this kind of sports and make sport as a profession in India.
Absolutely. And such kind of leagues, especially WPL, it's encouraging young women to take up the sport, to do their best in the sport, and then to be a part of this league, and then obviously to represent India on global levels. Well, that was a great auction to cover today. All the teams did their jobs well, but let's see what will happen in the upcoming WPL. It's going to be fun. Lastly, I would like to reiterate this point again that Kanav mentioned in this live session, that BCCI has mentioned clearly that this year's WPL will also be played in only one state, though they have not mentioned the name of the Indian state, but it will be played only in one state. It won't be pan-India league. It will be played in just one state, which means that it will be played across 3-4 venues perhaps. Nobody knows which state, nobody knows what all venues, but it won't be a pan-India league, at least for this year. So that's the update. Let's see what happens in the Women's Premier League. Thank you so much, Taos and Nisarg. It was really good talking to you, Nisarg, and getting all the details about women cricketers. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
फास्टेस्ट क्रिकेट स्कोर अपडेट्स या सबसे डिटेल्ड स्टैट्स,
क्रिकेट के अंदर बाहर की खबरें
या हेल्दी डिबेट्स,
सबसे एक्यूरेट एनालिसिस
या फैंस का क्रेज, सबके लिए एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म, क्योंकि क्रिकेट मतलब क्रिकेट नेक्स्ट.